right, welcome back. Today I've got a new friend, Austin Welge, out of Nashville, Tennessee, who is younger, and I want him to tell us what he's doing, but he's younger, I think mid-20s, and he's got 3 storage facilities already. I'm excited to learn more about him. So, Austin, why don't you tell us first, thanks for coming on, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, John. Kind of surreal being here. I've been a big fan and follower for the past year, so this is exciting. Just an honor to be on the podcast. But anyways, as John said, I'm 27 years old. I currently work for my family's company full time. We're a private food manufacturer, and we manufacture anything from cake mix, mac and cheese, cereal, any kind of dinner items. And we're a private label manufacturer, so we're private brands for almost 90% of the grocery stores in the United States. But anyways, I do own 3 self-storage properties, and I've been in the business for about 2 years now, and it's just exciting. And again, happy to be on the podcast.
Yeah, well, and you glossed over what your family's done. You work for the largest private food, right?
Correct. Yeah. So just a little background about my family's company is we are the largest private food manufacturer, and we are now getting ready to celebrate next year 130 years of business. The company started in 1895 as just a flour company, or a flour milling company, just from brothers and sisters. And then in the 1950s, my grandfather kind of took over the business, started running with it, selling like cake mix and flour out of the back of his pickup truck. And then he eventually got into like the ready to eat cereal business. And to this day now, he's grown the company first in the 1950s. I think it was doing around $1 million in gross revenue, and it exceeds, I think in 2012, he's grown it to around $900 million in gross revenue, which is insane.
That's insane.
But yeah, he's definitely, I guess, a little piggyback off of him is just, he was such a best friend to me, such an inspiring man, and somebody to definitely look up to. And I think that's where I get my entrepreneur background, is just seeing my grandfather, and still think about that man today. He worked for the family company, and he was the president all the way up till he was about 84 years old. And man, he was just sharp, remembered like everything. In great health. And then in 2020, COVID ended up wiping him out, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely somebody to hold great inspiration with. Yep.
That's awesome. So do you have any idea what he did to kind of change that trajectory from grossing 1 million? And obviously there's inflation there, but from 1 million to 900 million in basically 50 years.
Right.
Any idea how he did that?
Yeah. So definitely got into like the baking business. And we also eventually started our own fleet company. We host around like 300 to 400 trucks, tractor trailers. And to this day now we have around, I know in 2012, I think we had 14 or 15 manufacturing plants. Any plant is anywhere from about 2 to 400,000 square feet. And they reside in Illinois and Missouri. But then we got into, this is a kind of crazy story, but so I guess like the government was laying off jobs back in like I believe the early 1980s, and their engineers still needed help and wanted to give them help. So actually NASA came to my grandfather and told him, hey, we actually have an idea. We want to give our engineers just still some jobs during the summer. If we give you this sketched out plan to draw up your cereal lines, because my grandfather always had an idea that he kind of wanted to get into the cereal business, and this was kind of getting popular. And he was like, but if we draw up this plan, would you actually take a look at it and see if you'd be interested in bringing these lines in? So anyways, my grandfather was like, oh, I think that's a little too good to be true. I mean, this is NASA coming to us, and they want to draw up the cereal lines. But anyway, so about like 6 to 12 months later, sure enough, they had this huge box of just these designated plans for the cereal lines. And he ended up using them, and our engineers worked with NASA, and they helped create our first cereal lines in the business. And to this day, it's actually one of our largest items and the most producing, I guess, gross producing items. So kind of crazy that NASA helped us out.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. And you already talked about vertical integration. So it sounds like, and you were on one of our mastermind calls the other day and brought it up, but it sounds like obviously he probably pivoted in some areas, but he also vertically integrated by buying. I think you said he bought a fleet of trucks, correct? Like a trucking company. Or did he start it from scratch?
Yeah, he actually started it from scratch, and it was actually built with Gilster Mary Lee, or the name of Gilster Mary Lee. And again, it's around a fleet. Now we might have downsized just a little bit, but I bet it's around 300 to 400 tractor trailers. And then also, I mean, we do our own corrugation, and we manufacture some of our own cases and boxes. So vertical is that as well.
So what, there's so many things I'd like to get into, but I want to talk about you too. What's like the top 1 or 2 things that you've learned from working in your family's company that you can apply to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, great question, John.
Putting you on the spot there.
Yeah, right. No, I appreciate that. So I would say definitely first is, and I hear this time and time again from the people who come on your podcast, but just seeing my grandfather, just the amount of, I guess, one would be focus. These guys always, I mean, these big entrepreneurs and these successful people, whether it's real estate or any other kind of business, the amount of focus they have is, I just think, is so cool. And I would just say, I would say second would be probably persistence and never giving up, but it would probably be between focus and persistence. Just to see my grandfather, I mean, he was in and out, and this guy had so much passion between the family business. Even if a deal went wrong or something went completely south on us, I mean, he just had the focus to keep the company aligned and to keep going forward. So I think that is so cool.
That's awesome. Well, it's awesome too that obviously the company's been around since, you said, what, 1895, and then your grandpa kind of came along, just exploded the company.
Yeah.
Was he more of a visionary or implementer? So was he kind of like the big dreamer, or was he a guy that you could give him an idea and he just ran with it?
I think I would say he would be more the guy, you give him an idea and then he would run with it. I mean, he took action. He wasn't just sitting back and like, oh, well, maybe this could happen one day. I mean, this guy, again, maybe this goes back to focus and persistence, but man, he took action right away, and he knew of a plan, and then he would just go straight for it. So
that's awesome. That's cool. All right, let's talk you. So you're 27, you have 3 storage facilities. You graduated high school. What'd you do after that? Where'd you go?
Yeah. So I went and did my undergrad at the University of Mississippi, which is Ole Miss. Hotty toddy to all the people that are big Rebel fans out there. Let's go Rebs. But yeah, I did 4 years of undergrad. I graduated with a marketing degree, and honestly had the best 4 years, the best experience at Ole Miss. I miss that place. I still go back at least for about 2 football games a year. But I love Oxford, Mississippi, and just the SEC is just unreal. The amount of football and just the atmosphere is awesome. But anyways, I graduated with a 4-year marketing degree. And how I kind of got into self-storage was kind of interesting. I had a good friend throughout college, and him and I were kind of bored one summer, and we're like, man, we kind of need almost extra beer money, and we kind of want to help some people out. What can we do to kind of make more money? So he ended up making a post in like a parents page of Ole Miss and said, hey, we just have his truck, and we can help girls and guys move out of dorm rooms, apartments. And anyways, we had no idea where it was going to go. But he ended up getting a couple leads, and a couple parents were like, hey, my daughter needs moved out of this residential hall. And then we helped her move out. And then like, hey, I just heard you moved her. And the word of mouth was kind of crazy. Within like 2 weeks, we were just doing move after move. And something that sparked our interest, at least in this market that we were in, just at Ole Miss, was the amount of money that these parents would pay us. Is like, we wouldn't almost even give them a price and be like, what, feel free to pay us what you feel comfortable. And they would just overpay us. And it was kind of crazy. But anyways, then we kind of transitioned. We felt like we eventually got so many contacts through this moving company that we were getting ready to leave and graduate. And I was going to go work for my family's company, and he was going to go into dental school. So we ended up transitioning and turning it into a live business where we ended up hiring about 6 friends underneath of us. And him and I would still take the calls and schedule the moves. And I think the first 6 weeks of a business of starting student moves, we did 140 moves, which was kind of crazy within just a college moving business. Anyways, there was some headaches, let me tell you that, but it was really fun just to start like my first company. And I don't know, again, back to my entrepreneur side, I was really excited just to kind of see that grow. So then like the second year comes, and we ended up moving it on to Mississippi State. And I think we did close to like 400 to 500 moves that next summer within probably about 2 to 3 months. And we had hired anywhere from about like 25 to 30 guys beneath us. Wow. That's 1099s. And it was a little scary. I'm going to be honest. It was successful, and the demand was definitely there. But him and I definitely got scared in the mornings, as we could hear like we had an 8 a.m. move, and this parent would call us, and she'd be like, hey, Joe isn't here yet, and we only have one other guy. Call Joe. And Joe is like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like we overslept, and I was out the night before. So that was kind of scary on some of my moves. So just the logistics kind of got hard as we kind of grew, because we always did the mission, I guess, was students helping students. And we were a labor focused moving company where we actually didn't have any kind of moving trucks. They pretty much just paid us for the moving. So whether we were moving from a dorm to a U-Haul or a U-Haul to an apartment, they pretty much just paid us for our labor. Anyways, we just hired college students, and we pay them a certain hourly rate. And then obviously our market was really only helping college students, whether it was a freshman or a senior. But anyways, it was awesome. I really enjoyed the business. At the end, unfortunately, and I guess this would go to another point, is a partnership's really hard. And I think, it kind of breaks my heart. But I think at an early age, it was a really good lesson. But I think I wish I would have had a better boundaries for my partner and I, because it did actually divide our friendship, which is really sad by the end. just some unfortunate things happened. But I think the lesson here for anybody listening is just be very careful if you do go into a partnership. And that's why I just think I'm so thankful for the 3 properties that I own, that I solely own it. And again, nothing against a partnership, but at a young age, I wish I would have created boundaries, and I think that would have been more successful. So anyways.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. And I've done small partnerships, but you got to have like everything in writing, right? You got to have an exit strategy. You got to have roles and responsibilities. You've got to have everything mapped out before you get in that partnership. And really, it's like you got to align on everything. You're basically getting married, and your friendship. I've seen some where it strengthens it, but I've seen some where it just like yours, where it just falls apart because you don't get aligned. You just kind of great for you guys for just taking action, because that's step number 1, and most people don't do that. But then you've got to figure out really, really quickly, if you've just taken action, now you have to figure out quickly how to, I guess, kind of save that friendship if things happen to go south with the business, which is tough. So my question is, you guys did college moving. What'd you do for the other 11 months out of the year?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, we did. It was really seasonal based, right? Because people are moving out in really May or July, or moving in July, August. So really, it was 3 hard months. Now we did set it up where they were 1099s, so they really only worked for us on those 3 months. It wasn't like I'm paying these guys a certain salary, which obviously was hard because our turnover was we almost had to hire somebody new every season, because obviously they go to a new job, whatever that may be. But we did on the off season, there would be people who reached out to us with yard work and stuff like that. Now the demand wasn't where we had it with the moving company, but yeah, we did actually have quite a bit of people who just used us for our labor on yard work and just different odd end jobs at their homes. So
that's crazy. That just tells you how easy it is to find work out there, right?
No, seriously, I can't believe. I don't know. Just even starting a business. I mean, put yourself out there. You can't imagine how many people really need labor. Yeah. And they would just ask us for anything. I remember this guy was like, "Hey, I know you guys are $50 an hour or $100 an hour, but will you come help me pull weeds?" And me and my partner were like, "Why is he using us? Why can't he just use somebody else who's not expensive?" But he knew that we would take action and we would be there. And maybe that's another lesson to learn, even for myself, is just the persistence of well, he knew that we'd be on demand and we would be true to our word and come over there. So,
yeah. Well, just true to what you said, true to your word. You're going to do what you said you're going to do.
Yeah.
And you're responsive, right? Answer phone calls, answer emails. It's so simple. The service, unfortunately, the service doesn't have to be great.
Yep.
The actual work, but just answering the phone, answering emails, and showing up is that's 99% of it.
Oh, it's so crazy. And I guess I'm learning more and more. And just even with the self-storage industry, is just I reach out, or people reach out to me. I'm like, "Hey, I've called other owners and they haven't reached out to my phone call in 2 or 3 days, or even my emails." And I don't know, another good lesson to myself would be the sense of urgency, just even reaching out within a few hours, I think is huge, pivotal, because I feel like a lot of people even mess up and don't even reach out within 24 hours. I don't know. So
no, you're 100% right. Well, and even the 9 to 5 that I used to have, my job was basically estimating, taking phone calls, answering emails, project manager. It was a lot of things, but basically, if I answered emails and phone calls, I got the work because no one else was even doing that. Yeah, it's just, and it was service based. It was electrical contractor and handyman too. Okay. But yeah, it's amazing how many people just need little handyman stuff.
Yep.
If you can find the workforce, the work is there all day, every day. So obviously you transitioned from there. Did your parents always want you to, I guess, join the family business? Was that kind of always the plan?
Yeah. So I started working with the family business when I turned 16 years old. And my family was like, you're going out there and you're working on the line. You're going to help pack boxes. We're going to make you do the gritty work that everybody else has to do. So I know for like 2 or 3 summers that I would either have to go work in the lab or just work out in the manufacturing lines, even do a forklift. And I don't know, I think appreciate them getting me to do that. And I would definitely inspire to do that to my kids one day, because you do just really appreciate having the job that I have now. Is just, it does take a lot of hard work. And we obviously appreciate from the bottom of my heart of all the people who do work on the manufacturing lines for my family's company or any manufacturer here in the United States. It's just, man, it is tough work. And just to see that and experience that role at such a young age really meant a lot to me. I think at the time I was a little frustrated as a high school kid. I'm like, gosh, I don't want to be out here at 100-degree weather in a manufacturing site. But again, it really made me appreciate where I'm at today. And I don't know.
Yeah. And that's a great point, the appreciation of it. And I was talking to somebody the other day about, I don't know, starting a company or what to do with kids. I don't remember what the conversation revolved around, but it was basically that. It was like, you can't just give your kids the VP, right? Day one. They got to start from the bottom. And to me, even like in real estate investing, my very first single family rental, I did everything. I did literally everything: plumbing, electrical, flooring, painting, like you name it, I did it. The rental process, everything. So going forward, I knew what I was looking for in a contractor or someone that I hired to do that work. My guess is at some point that'll probably relate to you too as well. Not just the appreciation of what those people do, but the fact that you've worked there, you know what it takes. That way you can relate to them, and you can also find the right people to put in those positions.
Spot on, John. Yep.
So you did packaging at 16, and then moving company. What'd you go from there?
Well, here's maybe a little side note off of just any kind of investing, but I think it does relate back to me being an entrepreneur and self-storage. The moving company is, I grew up playing a lot of sports, baseball, basketball, golf. And since I've been like 3 years old, I've been a huge competitor. I would say that would be one of my strengths, is just, I'm a big competitor really with anything I do. And this is just kind of an interesting thing, is I actually, I'm a big pickleball player. I got into pickleball probably about 3 years ago. And I ended up playing.
Everybody else.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's when everyone started.
I ended up ranking up in these tournaments, just these local tournaments, and I guess getting a so-called duper is what they say. And I started playing mixed doubles, men's doubles. And then within this recent year, I played in the U.S. Open, the Pickleball US Open.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. So there's amateur pro, and I played the level below amateur pro. And I've actually played in 3 divisions. I played men's singles, I played mixed doubles, and then I played men's doubles just with my 2 partners here in Nashville, Tennessee. Now the tournament was actually located in Naples, Florida, but I ended up placing first in my men's doubles, and I ended up winning the tournament. And shout out to all the people that were there, family and friends, because that was just an amazing experience. So
that's awesome, man. I didn't know that. That's awesome. So semi-pro pickleball player too.
Well, I know everybody asked me like, wow, so are you going to try to divide your attention and go pro?
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about pickleball. But I'd still say I would be more passionate about self-storage. As crazy and cliche maybe that sounds. Man, I love self-storage. So, yep.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there. So what? So you threw that wrench in there. I didn't know that. So what? What's next? What happened after that?
As in the pickleball journey.
Well, we're just trying to follow your story. So you, college, moving company, semi-pro pickleball player.
Right.
I know you're doing sales for your family company. When did you start doing that?
Yeah. So I started started full time with my family's company after I graduated college in 2020. So I went full time. I still do sales full time with them. And then I went and worked back at the headquarters under my uncle, who's the president now. And my uncle is the best boss ever. So shout out to him. And I really appreciate working with him. But
you got to say that.
Yeah.
Just in case he hears.
That's right.
Just in case he listens.
That's right. But yeah, so I worked a year at the headquarters. And then I always had a desire to move to Nashville, Tennessee. Some because a lot of my friends from college were moving here, and just two, I love country music. So after I worked there for a year, I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and now I work fully remote, still for the family's company. And probably the first year I moved here, I always had a desire of wanting to get into self-storage, and it kind of related back to the moving business, just because as I moved so many guys and girls into storage units, I was thinking, man, the guys who are doing like the least amount of work are these self-storage owners. I did kind of have a little, I shouldn't say I had a real estate background, but my parents always helped manage apartments back home for my grandfather. And
so he had real estate too.
Yeah, he did. He owned probably about 40 to 50 doors, just small apartments located back in our hometown. And I would just help my parents do little odd and end things, maybe show apartment or collect rent, or just make sure that the site was clean. But I knew that there was a lot of headaches that kind of went on with that, whether a toilet broke or kind of eviction and somebody's not paying their rent. And man, that took so long just to even be able to evict somebody. Mm-hmm. So I kind of did a deep dive through self-storage, and I started reaching out to one of my best friends. His mom's a real estate agent back home, and I didn't know at the time, but she said she told me that there was no self-storage that was out for sale or anybody selling at the moment. But I guess I go back to like a God thing. Is just she told me, she was like, and if it sell, or if there is one, like somebody will sweep it up right away. And again, like I was so naive at the moment. I am at like 23 years old, and I'm trying to buy my first self-storage facility. But about 6 months later, she said, hey, I actually know of a good friend of mine who's trying to get out of the business and go into a 1031 exchange. And if you're interested, he has a self-storage property that's probably located about an hour from my hometown in Southern Illinois. And anyways, I had my parents help, and shout out to my parents, and shout out to my mother real quick, because she is a hero in my life. And if I didn't have her, I know this sounds cliche, but I don't know where I would be. She's my accountant, my assistant through all the self-storage needs, and also helps me at one of my sites as a manager. So
nice.
But anyways, so we looked at that property, and I actually had a mentor at the time, and he helped me kind of underwrite the deal, and he more gave me the advice of just to go after it. I mean, maybe didn't have the best cap rate or the best cash on cash return as people look at, but he was just like, you're so young, like you need to go after this deal. And like, if you mess up, you mess up. And he was just like, go after it. And like, then you're in the business. He says, if you want to get into real estate, then go after it. And I don't know, that advice, I'll thank him the rest of my life for that advice, because I think so many people get caught up on like, well, that doesn't hit my cash on cash return, or that number is just off by a tinge or whatever. And I'm just so glad that he told me the advice to just like take action and put yourself in there. And I had no idea what I was getting into, but I'm so glad that I did do that. So I bought my first facility, and that facility was about 20,000 square feet. It was about 75% occupied. And just with little marketing ideas, it's just so simple. And I guess back to your labor mentions, it's just like, or answering the phones. They didn't have a website. They had no marketing presence. And if they did, I don't know if they were even answering the phone like right away. But anyways, I just added a website. And I did little posts like on Facebook Marketplace. And I probably got the occupancy from 75% up to like close to 95% within like six to 8 months.
Wow.
And to this day, now I've owned that for 2 years, and I've grown the gross revenue. I've doubled the gross revenue, which is awesome. Crazy. I think they were bringing in around probably about $7,500 a month, and now I've got it up to close to $14,000 a month just within 2 years. And that's just as simple as raising street rates, raising current rates, and obviously adding, some new capital expenditures such as like lighting, cameras. But it's been a great game to me. And I guess to follow down that path is then probably about 6 months later, my mom actually gets a call, and she hears that there's an auction for sale on a self-storage property in our hometown. And I actually wanted to go after that one, but I just didn't know when they would be willing to sell. And anyways, I ended up purchasing that one about 6 months later. And that was around 20,000 square feet as well.
You bought that from the auction?
I bought that from the auction.
So you won the auction.
Yep. So I won the auction, and 20,000 square feet, they were probably 90% occupied. I eventually got it up to like 100%. Now, some people say, oh man, 100%, you need to go in and raise those rates, which I did. But there were still sticky tenants, or there was people just moving in at those higher street rates. And a blessing from that deal was there was growth to build on to that property. So I did, and I built on about 5,500 square feet more, added about 36 new buildings, and I'm actually kind of working on the lease up right now. The new building came in like August 1st of 2024, and I've got it about halfway filled. So now I'm sitting around 87% occupied. But again, I just went in, raised street rates, raised current rates, and it's been great to me. So then to follow down the line more, about a year later from buying in my hometown, within the last 2 months, I just bought my third property. This one's closer to 40,000 square feet. It's actually got a small strip mall on it, where I have 2 tenants. And then it also has 2 warehouses, and it was probably about 85% occupied, 85 to 86. And I brought it up just again with small marketing tactics to like 95% within 2 months. So I really love the self-storage business. And I guess one of the things that I really enjoy about this business is it's not overly complicated. It's just as simple as answering the phone within the first, couple rings, or just within the hour, and just being able to help somebody move in. Another thing I think that my competitors are doing is like sometimes you have to go in and sign a rental agreement in person. And I think just setting up easy online billing, I use StoreEdge but I just don't think my local competitors are doing that, at least in the rural markets I'm in. So I think that plays a huge competitive advantage. And really it's self-storage is not overly complicated. And I don't know, that's, I think, why I've been able to be so successful in the space as of right now. So
Yeah, no, a lot of good stuff. I want to unpack some of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, awesome story. I think you're right with the rural thing. It's because I'm in towns between 10,000 and 50,000 people, I think, something like that. And the 10,000 population, like if anyone builds or expands or whatever, it's a mom and pop that probably isn't great already. It's not like it's public storage or extra space or somebody that's a strong operator, right? They may be strong in relative terms, but they're not a REIT that's going to come and crush you. So while it is, there are downfalls to smaller markets, there's definitely positives because competition will probably always be subpar as opposed to being in those big areas. I want to bring up, was it your aunt? You said that was a realtor that found the first one?
Yeah, so this was actually one of my best friend's mom. She owns her own
Okay.
real estate
That's from her.
business.
So, and I'm not at all picking on her, but
Yeah.
it's you hear it a lot, and it's a limited mindset. The first thing she said to you was, "Oh, there's not any for sale, and if they do, they're gone quickly." Like that's just complete limited mindset.
Yep.
She brought you one, so there was one
Yep,
out there, obviously.
exactly.
But there's deals out there all
Yep.
day, every single day, in every single market,
Yep.
every single niche. But what's funny is complete opposite side of the spectrum. The mentor that you had said, "Dude, just do it. Just take action and figure it out." And that's probably the best advice anyone could ever get that's trying to get in some type of anything with entrepreneurship, real estate, whatever. Because that's the biggest thing. Just swing the bat.
Swing the bat.
And then the other deals should get easier. Even if your first deal is not that great, maybe you become a great operator and then it becomes a great deal.
John, just to pivot off of that real quick.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just so thankful because he was just like, bet on yourself, as your point, swing the bat. And it doesn't have to be the best deal, but at least then you have your hands in it and that you understand the business. And man, if that's not just some amazing life advice, because again, I just think so many people have overlying thoughts of like, just keep analyzing the deal, and then they never get into it. So yeah, I'm just so thankful for him on saying that to me.
How much education did you have with underwriting and with storage operations at that point in time when you finally decide to write an offer and they accepted it? How much, I guess, education did you have?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I mean, I did do research. I probably researched self-storage within like 6 to 12 months before I bought my first one, whether that's like how to be an operator in self-storage, what kind of marketing it takes. But really, I mean, to be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know how to answer. Even when I took it over, I didn't know how to answer a phone call. I still hardly even knew what like the different unit size mixes were. Like I obviously I had some education, but I like had to learn on the spot, even how to like get them to sign a rental agreement. But one quote that I really like and that I think I should share with you is somebody brought it up the other day, and it's the quote that reads, "Naive investors perform better than leery investors." And I think that
love that.
I think that quote really set well with me, at least buying this first facility, is because I really was naive. I had no idea at 23, 24 years old what I was going to do. But then I eventually learned and I got my hands in there and I took action. And here I am today, now sitting at almost 100,000 square feet at 27 years old. And I can always thank my younger self for just going in there and honestly being naive.
Yeah, no, listen, being naive might be one of the big naive, or in my case, like not the brightest, whatever it is, like you just, or having balls, whatever it is, like it's a strength that people don't talk about. The smartest people in the world sometimes overanalyze, and not even everyone's smart in their own way, right? But when it comes to analyticals and stuff, people get in their own way. So that's a great point, man. I love that. I love that quote. That was awesome. If you don't mind sharing, how'd you fund these three?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Obviously, being at such a young age, I didn't have the liquid or the cash to obviously go into these. But my family actually helped me with the down payment, and I was able to get into my first deal. So shout out to my family again for just even taking the bet on me. I couldn't have done it without them. So, and this has set me up for success the rest of my life. So, man, I'm just so thankful for even the opportunity for them to bet on me. And then on the next two deals, I actually ended up refinancing my first one and then was able to get into the other two. So, again, a lesson there is just, man, you got to get into your first one. And really, then you're able to kind of, I mean, it sounds cliche or however you want to say it, but it really is a lot easier after you get the first deal.
Yep. That's awesome, man. Well, and some people may say, well, your parents helped you out. Well, someone helps everyone. There's somebody that helps everybody at some point in time, right? Like I had help. My dad helped me with, what was it? My fifth one, I think, with some money. Like we're all helped at some point. The biggest thing is swing the bat, get in the game. This is an awesome story, man. I love it.
Well,
before we get into kind of the last questions, anything else that I missed or that you want to add? You've been hitting us with some gems, some quotes. So I don't know if you had anything else.
Actually, yeah. You know what? I feel like this is my Christian duty, and I'm very strong in my faith. So I'd like to share two Bible quotes that always stick close to my heart, whether it's self-storage or any personal life. So one of my favorite quotes ever is Matthew 7, verse 7, and it reads, "Ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open to you." And I feel like how that pivots to my life is through the moving company. I always prayed that I want to find another business that is similar but takes less stress off of me and helps me go to the financial freedom and the area that I want to go in my life. And I would always pray to God about it. And I guess for anybody listening, if this resonates with anyone, it's just pray and he will listen to you. So that's definitely a quote that I always keep close to my heart. And just the next one I'd like to share is Proverbs 4, verse 23. And it's, "Above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellsprings of life." And how I guess resonate with that quote is just, you know what, at the end of the day, make your decision, trust your gut and follow your heart. And you know what, you will succeed. So I think some people just get too much in their head and just follow your heart and it'll all work out.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get in the last three questions. So what's one thing that you're better at than everybody else?
Yeah. I would say for me is I'm just a competitor with anything I do, whether it's sports, business, my personal life is just competition. I love competition and just even buying my first storage deal, whether it's my third, I'm a competitor and I want to be better than the other businesses, whether that's marketing, whether that's operations, but like I'm going in there and I'm going to beat the other guy. I don't care what it takes. And I would say I'm a really big competitor and I think that really fuels my drive. So competition.
Love it. It's awesome. Normally I ask what's next, but I have a feeling, I think we can get a better answer out of you if I ask, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Ooh, yep. Okay. That's a good question, John. I guess this is my feeling at the time being, but I feel like now after getting these three properties and I'm sitting close to 80 to 90,000 square feet within three properties, I really want to kind of hone in on my operations. And I think I do have plans on more expansion because 2 out of the 3 properties actually have around 2 to 3 acres where I actually can build on. and I have great occupancy where I feel like that would be a good play. So I would say in 10 years, it's just still operating these 3 properties. I don't have any plan on selling. My idea is just hold for the long term. I don't know if maybe that's the best advice or not, but I know my mentor always told me his quote is never sell. So I think I hold that close to my heart too. But just kind of honing in on my operations, just making sure that we're the best storage business in our markets. And that being said, I don't know, I can never pass up a good deal. So within that 10 years, if another good deal comes, I think I would maybe purchase one, but I think I would more have the idea of purchasing, operating it, and then I guess selling it. I guess that contradicts what I said on never selling, but I do want to hold these 3 properties because they are located just around where I'm from. And I think it is just, I guess, a good synergy of where I'm at. So
love it. Awesome. If anyone wants to reach out, questions, want to connect, where can they find you?
Yeah, of course. Please reach out. My phone number is
you sure you want to give a phone number?
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah, I've cut you off there.
That's right. That's right.
Email or social media might be the
yeah. People can reach me at Chester at StingerMiniStorage.com. And again, that's Chester at Stinger, as in bee stinger, StingerMiniStorage.com. Reach out to me over email, and I would be happy to set up a Zoom call or a phone call. And if anybody has any questions, again, whether it's self-storage, personal, I love to be a friend and help anyone out. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you sharing your story, and excited to see what else you have in store. You're such a young kid, so excited to see what you can do, man.
Well, thanks again, John, for having me on, and take care.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll see you guys.
Thanks for following, subscribing, and listening to this episode of the Do More podcast hosted by John Farling. To learn more or ask questions, go to l4investing.com.